Hi, today we will discuss about priority inversion. Just see here, priority inversion. So, what is priority inversion? It is an undesirable situation that may occur during process synchronization technique like test and set instruction that we have already studied in the previous lecture. Okay, so it is basically an undesirable situation, a situation that we don't want to come, but unfortunately it may happen. So let's discuss about it. You see here, I have written a simple process synchronization code: entry section, critical section, exit section. And we all know how entry section lets the process to go inside the critical section and it stops other process to enter inside the critical section when already one process is there. So with the help of this figure, we will try to understand what is priority inversion. Fine. So just see here. Suppose you see there are two processes. Suppose there is one process P1. Okay. It's a very easy concept. So just watch it very carefully. It's a very easy concept and you will understand it within one go. Okay. You see here, a process is there P1 and P1 wants to enter into the critical section. Okay. So it has to go through this entry section. So what P1 will do? P1 will execute this entry section code and after that P1 will enter into the critical section. Fine. So now P1 is inside the critical section. Okay. And P1 is executing the codes that are written inside the critical section. And suppose after some time, another process P2 came. And P2 also wants to access the critical section. Okay. But we know that the code in the entry section, as we have seen the test and set instruction, the code in the entry section is written in such a way that it will not allow other process to enter inside the critical section if one process is already present inside it. Okay, so what will happen? If P2 will try to enter, the code of entry section will stop P2. Will stop P2. Just think it as a case of test and set instruction. Here it will be a while loop and P2 will get stuck in this while loop. Okay, P2 will get stuck in the while loop which is present in the entry section. So when P2 can enter inside the critical section if P1 comes out from the critical section. Okay, in order to get entry into the critical section, the while loop code which is written in the entry section has to be broken. It can only be broken if P1 comes out from the critical section and P1 should execute this exit section and after that this while loop, the while loop which is written in the entry section will be broken and P1 will be able to enter inside it. That we already know. Okay. So suppose, so here you see it's a clear case. P1 is present inside the critical section and P2 is stuck in the while loop which is present in the entry section. Now suppose the priority of P2 is higher. Okay, here I write the priority of P2 is higher than P1. Suppose P2 is of very high priority and we have already seen in the CPU scheduling that in priority scheduling algorithm what happens, that if a higher priority process comes then CPU is snatched from the lower priority process and it is given to the higher priority process. Okay, so you see since P2 has the higher priority, so CPU will be given to P2. Initially CPU is with P1. That's why P1 is inside the critical section and P1 is executing all the codes. Remember one thing, in order to execute anything, in order to execute entry section, remainder section, exit section, whatever section, CPU is needed. Okay, so initially CPU is with P1. That's why P1 could execute this entry section, and P1 is in the critical section right now. And since the priority of P2 is higher, so P2 will snatch the CPU from P1, and P1 and CPU will be given to P2. And now CPU is with P2, not with P1 anymore. So just think here. Here P1 is inside the critical section. P1 has not yet completed its task inside the critical section, but P2 has snatched the CPU from P1, and now CPU is with P2. Okay. Now what will happen? Just think, if CPU is with P2, is it enough for P2 to get entry inside the critical section? Is it enough? Having CPU is enough to break the while loop for P2? No, not at all. Because while loop can only be broken if P1 will execute this exit section. Then only while loop can be broken. And P1 can't come out from the critical section. Why? Because P1 doesn't have the CPU. Okay. And also P1 can't execute this exit section. In order to execute this exit section, P1 needs the CPU, and P1 can't get the CPU. So you see, it's like it's almost like a deadlock situation. Here you see, here P2 is in busy waiting condition, but it has taken the CPU. Since it has the higher process, so it will not leave the CPU, because P2's priority is higher than P1, so it will never leave the CPU. And you see, P1 has got stuck inside this critical section. P1 is unable to come out from the critical section, because in order to come out from the critical section, P1 needs the CPU. So both are locked in their respective position. So this problem is known as priority inversion problem. Okay, have you got it? So this problem is called priority inversion problem. It's a very simple thing, and test and set instruction, it suffers from this problem, priority inversion problem. Okay, now one thing you tell me, in round robin CPU scheduling algorithm, will this problem occur in round robin algorithm? Just think. No, not at all. Let me tell you why. Because we already know that, suppose there are two processes, okay, two processes, and what happens in round robin algorithm? Each process is given a time quantum. Each process is given an equal amount of time quantum. So that process will run till the expiry of its time quantum. For example, suppose P2 is given 2 millisecond of time quantum. So P2 can run only for 2 millisecond. Okay, irrespective of the fact whether P1 completed its task or not. After the expiry of the time quantum, now CPU will be given to P2. Okay, and P2 will also run for 2 milliseconds. Again, after the expiry of the time quantum, CPU will again be given to P1. So in round robin algorithm, each process is given an equal amount of opportunity to access the CPU. So here you see what will happen. You see, even if P2 has higher priority than P1, okay, and P2 has snatched the CPU from P1, but after the, since I am explaining about round robin algorithm, so it will take the CPU for only some amount of time, say 1 millisecond or 2 millisecond, whatever the time quantum is. So after the expiry of the time quantum, now the CPU will be given back to P1. Okay. After the expiry of the time quantum, the CPU will be given back to P1. Fine. And ultimately what will happen? Since now CPU is with P1, so P1 will now P1 can execute this exit section and P1 will come out from the critical section. And when P1 will come out from the critical section, the while loop which is written inside the entry section will be broken, and ultimately this will lead to the entry of P2 inside the critical section. Okay, you got it? So this is all about priority inversion problem. Okay, so just write an important point. This yes, priority scheduling algorithm suffers from priority inversion. PI means priority inversion. So you got it. And the second point, important point, is that round robin CPU scheduling algorithm does not suffer from priority inversion problem. Or you can say that priority scheduling algorithm is not suitable in this case because priority inversion may arise. Okay. So in the examination, they may ask you, they may give 4 options. Okay, like which of these following CPU scheduling algorithm is best suitable for priority inversion problem. Okay, yes, which of the following CPU scheduling algorithm does not suffer from priority inversion problem? They may ask you, and you will simply write round robin algorithm. This is the best one. It can never suffer from priority inversion problem. Fine. Thank you.